Oh, there's a whole bunch of people turned up. I am sorry, I got distracted. Hang on. Hello, good evening. Hope you can all see me and hear me all right out there, out in wonderful internet land. It's good to be here. Just do a little bit of, oh, there we go. A little bit of that, a little bit of this. Well, look at you all in the chat. How lovely to have you here. This is fabulous. I've got green lights over there. Looking all right. Sound is fine, says Rob. Thanks for that, mate. Sounds literally incredible. Oh, not me. You're talking about something else amongst yourselves. Okay, fair enough. Right. Well, hello. Good evening. My name is Robin and welcome to Molten Chat. This is an extension of the Molten Music Monthly where we talk about the new. I mean, who am I kidding? We never talk about the news. We just talk about whatever people want to talk about. It's usually synthesizer related. Sometimes we get into, politics, religion and the end of the world. But not very often, I have to say, because there's usually beer to drink and that's ultimately more interesting. But what we're going to do this evening is to, say hello, have a bit of chat, drink some beer, play with some bits and pieces and just generally see how we're all kind of doing out there. That's the general idea. You're very welcome to ask me questions. I love answering questions and just generally I love talking. So keep me talking and we'll have a happy hour or so of just me running on about stuff. Apologies if I miss any of your questions or if I'm just outright rude, because that can sometimes happen, and it comes from a place of love. It doesn't come from a place of malice. It's just that I enjoy the banter that one can have in this place, even if it's just completely made up by me. Today I'm rocking again my 40th anniversary Moonraker motorcycles glass, and we seem to be drinking something I picked up in the equivalent of a corner shop, I suppose you could call it, down the old Navvy at Bardersfield. A hazy IPA in a lovely tin I had taken by the tin from Woodford's Brewery. So that's me for today. So I better interrupt the fluid conversation that's going on in the chat and get them noticing me. It's probably important, I think. Just a sec, I'm just pouring a beer in case you can't see that. All right, you can hear that though. Oh, nearly. Not too bad. I'm told by my oldest son that hazy IPAs are the worst. I had no idea. They were the worst. I thought they were all right. I was quite enjoying the flavour, but now I understand that they're terrible, so I'm probably not going to be drinking it anymore. Apparently I have to go back to kind of rubbish beers again, which is a little bit sad. I'm just going to adjust the frame rate. 1 second. Wrong button. This one. That's a bit better. That might look a bit smoother. With a bit of luck, that worries me now that I had that set wrong earlier today when I was doing a video, but never mind. Hey, let's get on. So let me just, wow, look at all this chat. That's extraordinary. I mean, Kraken, you were here first, so congratulations for that. And Rob as well, good to see you. Sorry, I'm just trying to get rid of don't you hate it when you can't get rid of a menu thing without doing a thing? I don't wish to tell you. Oh, come on. Thank you. Okay, Swaggerbo, good evening to you. Steve, hi. Peter, good to see you. FAQ. Nobody needs ideas with the maths. You just end up using it as a couple of envelopes, and that's it. That's all. That's all anyone ever uses it for. People who claim to use it for other things are mostly lying. Mostly. I mean, occasionally you get put in a situation where you go, oh, I've got to work this thing out. I've got to do a thing, and add a thing to the thing in order to get a thing. And then perhaps you use maths, or you just kind of get bored and move on and just make some music instead. Or sometimes you need an end of cycle thing. Those can be quite exciting. And then you get bored and move on to make some music. So you don't need any ideas. You know exactly what you're doing. You play with it for a bit and then you put it to one side and use more sensible modules. That's always the answer to that one. Kent, good evening. Tonal Axis, good to see you. Thomas, hi. Hi. Nick, great. Sup? Andrew, are you still all right out there? What were you doing? You were going to reinvent something, or were you building a spaceship? I can't quite remember. You're always doing something exciting, something new. Oh no, you're going to learn Max MSP. That's right. Good luck with all that. Sounds fantastic. Smartheadness, good to see you. I've skipped fully wired. Great. Hope everyone's okay. Hi Dan, Bart, Pathlake, Jason, good to see you. Right, getting to the bottom. Don't have a good clock source. Okay. Get a good clock source then. That's a good answer to that one. Anyway, you're all very welcome here this evening. So what you heard when I was kicking off was the Caress of Stars from Arcane Devices. It is something that is just been launched on Indiegogo. They are looking for people to place some orders, some pre-orders, which is exciting. And they've sent me one. I haven't updated the firmware or done anything sensible like that. I've just turned it on just now before I started and thought, gosh, that's a really nice little tune it's playing. I think I'll let that feed through into the live stream. And so I did. And that's what you heard. What can I tell you about it? I could look. I do have a couple of cameras sort of half set up. So I could actually, we could have a little poke together just for fun, shall we? In lieu of anything else happening. There we go. We can be able to see that. I just need to do a bit of something like that. Whoa, nice, lovely. Oh, I've got a thing, haven't I? Working at Beyond. I'm on it as well. Yes, excellent. I know what I'm doing. I only do this once a month. Yeah, so here it is. It's wonderfully wide, 1U module with how many steps is that? 16 steps on it. The general idea. I literally turned it on how to play. So I'm doing it very much by feel at the moment. So let me see if I can feel my way to turn off number 2 for the minute. I'm on channel 2, gate 2. Is that right? Yeah, okay, that killed that. Good. Let's go back to channel 1. Right, so I'm going to take that out of there. I'm going to turn this up. And I've broken it. Oh, gosh darn it. Okay, there we go. So what appears to work, right, is you've got all these steps. You've got 4 channels, and then you've got this strip. And everything is done through this strip. So I've turned on a scale. I've worked that bit out. And then you just go... And every time it hits a step, it records whatever it is you're playing. Then you let it go and it will carry on. Isn't that lovely? How easy is that? I mean, that's a winner, isn't it? Don't you think? That's just brilliant. And then what I did, I turned channel 2 into a gate. No, that's wrong button. There we go, that button. And I put channel 2 into an envelope. Like so. And then again, you hit the strip in order to create some gates. Isn't that superb? What a lovely thing. What an absolutely lovely thing. Now I have other buttons like mute, clear, recall, save. I think I can save patterns. I've got some kind of loop thing, divide, step, I imagine that's time division, step editing as well over here, but just the fluidity, the instantness of that was just something quite beautiful. I'm sure I could probably do something wrong with it now if I try that. Is that going to turn off? Yeah, so I've muted channel 2 now, I think. Yeah. Nice. Now I've got something else I could try while I'm here, which is this fella here, sent to me by AJH. Just as I've got the Joe filter doing a lovely job, let's kill that and stick something else in just for fun while we're here. Although, I mean, before I do that, let me just have a look at any comments on the Caress of Stars so far, so we don't lose that as we go in. Yeah. I mean, I don't mind pretentious names really. I find those quite fun because we are in an industry that's also sort of stacked full of numbers, and you know, this is called the YM4639. You know, I find those sorts of that sort of naming convention very unhelpful. Whereas I like crazy names, not ones that I can't pronounce, like the Incarnate, you know. It drives me nuts. But I don't mind creative names at all. I find those quite fun. Is it DIY? No, it didn't come to me as DIY. It came to me already built. I think it's a lot of surface now, but it also, just a sec, came with a little box, a little case for it, so you don't have to have a 1U row. It's literally just got a cable in it, and you'd need some kind of 9-volt like guitar pedal type power supply for it. I think you can check that with them though. So you could have it as a completely little independent little thing. Oh, what was it he said? Was it from? It was, oh yeah. So yeah, the idea of this is that you'd piggyback. That's right, he's included a split power cable, so you can piggyback off the power that's going into your case. Ah, that's what that's for. That was very clever. I like that. So that's a nice idea. It's just a little 3D printed case for it. So if you don't have a 1U row, it doesn't matter. Genius, eh? Genius. That's so nice. So nice. Right, I'm going to kill it and stick another different filter in. If I can get around these bits and those bits. Get out of it. What are you doing? Let's go back to here while I'm waiting, so you can look directly into the side of my head while I do this. Oops. Oh, come on. All right. That's out of there. You're out of there, Jove. Not that they don't make those anymore. It's probably worth a fortune, that thing, because it's so rare. I mean, why don't people put coverings on these power supplies, power sockets? You're always going, is that Is that minus 12? Is it minus 12? Is it red? Is it red striped down like with Dofa, or is it? Oh my goodness! It's just the danger. I mean, it turns out. Do you remember that my wasp filter stopped working? My Dofa wasp, and everyone was telling me that it's because there they go. Sometimes those chips, sometimes they just go. It's going all right. And if you contact Dofa, they'll sort it out for you. So I did contact Dofa and I sent them a picture and they went, no, you blew it up yourself, mate. I literally put the power cable in the wrong way around and blew it up. So there we go. I don't think modules should do that. I think there should be power protection. And also, a cowling around the power thing so you can only put it in one way. I think that's sensible. But then maybe people are assuming that they're not as stupid as me, when they actually learn how to use their gear, that kind of thing. So this is the Matrix VCF. If I put this back to here, they do. The shrouds impede the movement of the sacred electrons. See, I didn't know that. So it's like lowering the quality a little bit. The quality of the music, of course, not the anything else. Can I make that? Oh, every professional thing is possible. Is that going to hang in there? Come on, hang in there. You can just about see that, I think. Now that's just wrong. Let's use a longer cable. So that gets out of the way. This is unimportant. This is also in the way. What's that? Let's try this. Where's that going? Up to there. And this was the 1 volt per octave. Then I need an output, which was going into there. There's an output. Alright, hang on, I've just got to do a thing. Oh, heck. Interesting. So essentially in the matrix you've got all of these different filter models. Is that of any use at all? No, I don't think it is. That's crazy. Okay, not entirely sure why you would want to CV control the changing of the filter, because every time you seem to change the filter, you get kind of a tick. It's like crunching its way through it as opposed to some kind of smooth movement from one to another. So I'm not really sure what that's about at the moment. It's an odd module, the Matrix VCF. You have 16 modes of filter. Well, it also has a VCA. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. I don't know. I think I'm going to have to spend a little bit of time with it to see if I can drill down to why it's useful. I mean, personally, I like to have a filter which does the thing, does its filtering, if you know what I mean, and then have a different filter which does filtering differently. Whereas this one has all the modes. I don't know. Hopefully I'll dig into it a bit and it will reveal itself. It will reveal what it is that it's all about. Because I'm sure that there's been sort of thought and intention put into it. At the moment, I'm not really feeling it. I'm not sure why I need 4 low pass filters and 4 band pass and 4 high pass and 3 all pass and 2 notches. But then I'm probably just not clever enough. I mean, that's usually what I find, generally, as it goes. So having taken out my Joe filter, which does exactly what you think it should, I mean, even that has 4 modes. This has 12 more modes than that, and I'm not really feeling it. Not to worry. So how are we all doing out there? Any thoughts on anything so far? Do I use a Picnic Connect? Yes, I do. It's up there. And whenever I get my laptop out, my Surface out to do something software involved, I absolutely do use it. I don't use it on my main computer because I have an SSL, what's it called? SSL 12 over there, which is brilliant. It's similar but different. It doesn't have the magic knob of magicness. But generally on my desktop computer, I'm using Studio One, and that fits with that beautifully. The Picnic Connect is a different animal. In case you're wondering what I'm talking about, this fella here. It's chunky, heavy, but it has CV gate outputs or inputs or one or the other, which is brilliant for integrating your Surface or your laptop with computer with modular, which I will do more of when I can find the time. It's just a matter of fitting all that sort of thing in. So yes, absolutely, I'm using this every time I turn the computer on. And it's really easy, really simple to use, works really well. You know, absolutely no complaints with that. That's living up there where I can easily grab it when I need it. Resonance circuit is off at the moment. What? I don't know. Clicks when switching. Yeah, it does indeed. Yeah, I will investigate the pops, certainly. The diff-kit output module is totally ace. It's really, really good. It sort of solves a bunch of problems. It just makes my life easier. I mean, I'm not using it particularly deliberately, but then that's the point. It can sit there and just be useful. So if I've got one, I mean, I'd like to have sort of one for every case, really, because you can just plug it in and stick stuff into it. I know that sounds stupid, but you're not trying to mix stuff and not trying to adjust levels, which is not always a good thing. Sometimes you do need to do that, but otherwise I'm just poking stuff into it and then I'm sending it out to a mixer, which is then going through the system. So it's just an easy way. It doesn't matter how many sound sources I have in that particular case or in a neighboring case. I can just plug it into there and it all goes out the same thing. It's so ridiculously simple. I did have my Molten motion meter, the four channel one, this one in here before I put in the Caress of Stars. And this was acting as a mixer for anything I had in here. So just changing levels and also changing modulation. So some form of attenuation before the output bus is useful if you have things that are running at different levels of hotness, which is very common, I'm finding. But no, it's a brilliant, simple, workable, great for any case type module. Yeah, in case you haven't noticed, on the Stasis Leak, I turned the LED around, finally, because it's not ever worked when I made it about 3-4 years ago. Now it still doesn't work, but it does work if you use the tap tempo. That's the only time it works. It doesn't work otherwise when I change this. No, nothing happens. But when I use, you can't see that, when I use the tap tempo on the Stasis Leak, you can see that, yeah, you get a flashing light. But when I change the actual timing, nothing happens, I don't think. And I don't know why, but hey, I'm not here to understand things, I don't think. But I had nothing happening on it at all before, so you know, getting around to unsoldering that, putting it back in the other way up, has certainly helped with that. And it's a great little effects unit, I think, the Stasis Leak. The reverb's all right, chorus is all right. I mean, I could run things back through it again just to give you a quick go. Let's put it back to something slower. I don't know, that jump from mode to mode is a bit fierce in my view. Maybe you have to jump in between somehow when there's nothing sounding. I don't know. Anyway, what are we talking about? We're talking about a Stasis Leak. So it's got a couple of different modes. So chorus, I'm going to turn off some of those gates. If I can go clear too. Oh, awesome. Chorus. Then delay. And then a reverb. But I've also got some other reverb going on, so maybe that's difficult to hear. Let me turn it there. The All the Way Wet isn't particularly wet. That's a nice filter. What was that for? No, obviously did that wrong. Hang on. Think, boy, think. Oops. Okay, there's 4 pages to the Crest of Stars, which means you can actually run 64 notes, I believe. I will look into it this week, hopefully. I'm going to do a proper review of it. But as you can see and probably hear, it seems really easy, really intuitive, and I think has a lot going for it. I like how I can just because you're using scales and quantization, you can very quickly and easily just throw something together. I like that a lot, because, you know, in the constant maelstrom and turmoil of my attempts at live performance, I'm finding that if I've prepared like a 15-20 minute piece, I usually have played it when it happens live. Excuse me. It's usually all over in 5 minutes. And so I need somewhere to go. So once my anxiousness has ripped through my set, I need to be able to throw something else in and do something new and change it and improvise, think on my feet. And that couldn't be tricky. I mean, the last EMOM I did it with the Bishop's Miscellany 2 over here. And I had a sleight of hand going into it, which is just like a little keyboard. And I tried to pick out a new melody, because I'd sort of used everything up halfway through my set, and I found that really hard, really difficult to do actually in the darkness and stress of a live performance. Whereas maybe this is something that you can very easily pick something new out of, because that's kind of what you want. That's what I want, I think. Lots of things that I want. So very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Any more thoughts there over there in the chat? Oh, Arcane, hey, you're there. Nice. Let me just rewind a little bit. Doesn't have its own clock. Not that I could see. I put a clock in to run the steps. If I take that out, it stops. So my assumption is it does not, but I don't know. And your man's in the chat. He's probably answered that question already. Is it upside down? I don't know. For good precision. Yeah, precision is not my thing right at the moment. See, I missed all that earlier. I didn't even notice that you were here, mate. That's ridiculous. Okay, good, right, I understand. Yeah, a good alternative to the Korg SQ1. Yes, I totally get you with that. Okay, lots of stuff from Mr. Miles. And then we are... Okay, Andrew, yeah, good tip. I do mean to watch DivKid's video before I get deep into it. It's just that it happened to be really sitting there staring at me, so I thought I'd plug it in. PVox. 1 2-way. Not sure what that's doing. Try having a timer that you can see, keeping track of time. Yeah, okay, fair comment. Home plus step for tap tempo. Okay. So apparently I can take that out. I can press home and step. And then what? It runs itself? Doesn't appear to. But, you know, I don't want to have to go into everything right now. That seems to be a step. No, I don't know. Just put that back into there and that'll work. Home plus next. Oh, okay. Hang on. I'll give it one more go. There we go. It's running itself. There we go. Running itself. And that's going slower and faster, which you can't see because you're on the wrong thing. So yeah, it was home plus next. Turn the clock on and off. And home plus step gives a tap tempo. Got it? Yeah, nice. Okay, cool. Okay, nice. So, we've spoken about this before on live streams, I think, as this thing has been coming into fruition. And so I thought we could spend at least 30 seconds talking about the Synth Picnic. Does anyone have any thoughts in that direction over the general idea of what it is that I'm trying to put across? Does anyone out there believe that this is an extraordinary idea or a terrible idea? Does anyone feel it will actually work? And what do I mean by work? I think perhaps that's the key question, because one of the things that's important to get across, I think, is that the intention behind the Synth Picnic is not some kind of benevolent come and see synthesizers open day as such, although it will of course be that. The idea is to try to provide a space in which synthesizers can be experienced and sold. It's because ultimately we can't just do everything for free. We can't. It's not feasible. As much as I would like to, as much as the Synth East idea originally started up as just kind of a thrown together festival in a pub, it turned into something else. And once it turns into something else and people are involved, time and energy and knowledge and organization needs to be paid for, and ultimately that creates this little business around a thing. And so with Synth Picnic, while on the one hand, hey, just come along and try some synths is fine, it has to ultimately start paying for itself, because it needs to be a useful use of my time. Ultimately, it needs to be able to sustain itself and pay for the expenses of what it is that it's doing. And so I have to see it differently. I mean, with Synth East, I'm very much seeing it as a community-driven, fantastic festival and celebration of synthesizers in Norwich, where we can all get together and have a fantastically awesome time. We have to throw a little bit of money in the hat to make it happen, but flipping heck, what a great thing to do once a year. That's the idea. I get a chance to perform, other people get a chance to perform, we get a chance to meet the manufacturers and play with the stuff like you do at other shows. But it's something which is a bit more reachable in Norwich. It's cheaper, more affordable. I think we have an eclectic and interesting range of things to see and hear, and experiences performances to experience that are completely unique. So that's Synth East. With Synth Picnic, the idea is that it's trying to move into the space where music shops no longer are, because music shops are falling apart and dying, often in places. So we're seeing, evidentially, with the closure of PMT and other such shops as well, in recent times, that it's hard to run a bricks and mortar music shop. I think you can do it as an independent to some degree, or you can do it as a big online shop like Thomann, Gear for Music, places like that, Digital Village. Trying to run a bricks and mortar place that has everything in it that you can demo, and has all the stock and all of the staff and the admin and the deliveries and the price matching against the internet. All of that stuff is really, really hard to do in this day and age. So Synth Picnic is designed to try to fill a bit of that space. And what that space is, it's not just community fun, enjoying a bunch of synthesizers. That space is giving people good advice on synthesizers that they might want to purchase. and to provide them with an opportunity to try those synthesizers out before they purchase, and then ideally guide them towards a partner retailer in order to buy the synth, so that we get a little bit of a kickback which can pay for the day and support that, and ideally, I mean, make me a millionaire. Obviously that's the ultimate gain, the ultimate aim. But I imagine that'll be a few Synth Picnics off, I should think. But on the road to there, that is the intention behind it. So it is trying to be some kind of business idea. Now, it's never going to be a successful business, and in fact, I don't think it needs to be. Because as soon as it gets, if by any chance it would get successful, and everyone goes, wow, that's a brilliant idea, a brilliant way of selling synths to people, it'll kind of get taken over by a large firm, and they'll ruin it. They'll make it bad. They'll turn it into all the things we don't like about music shops, because music shops are very much a double-edged thing. They're a fantastic resource, have always been through years. I worked for 10 years at Turnkey down in London, so I know what I'm talking about. They are fantastic places, but they're also awful places, because you often, not always, often have salespeople in there who are working on commission, inevitably, who are trying to get a sale because they need to, and they want to give you time, want to answer your questions, but they also want to get the sale. So there's this dynamic that goes on, which is not really in anyone's favour, because a customer wants to spend a bit of time, wants to understand, and the sales guy wants them to want all of those things, but wants them to want all those things quicker and sooner, and hopefully on the way to the till. So, music, we have this love-hate relationship with music shops, and I think if this idea gets taken up by a big player, it will just end up like that. So it will be, sure, a useful place where you can perhaps access stuff, but there'll be a pressure and a stress to it, and also perhaps a restriction on what you can see and what you can play with, because it will be stripped down to what's the best thing to make money on, what's the best sellers, what's the best this, that, and the other. So part of what I'm trying to curate within this Synth Picnic is an alternative music shop experience. And that, I believe, can be a place where you come and you can try out whatever synths are available. It's not going to be everything. It's not going to be exhaustive. It's not going to be Synth East with 25 manufacturers. No, it's going to be a dozen things that you can play on. But you'll have the opportunity to do that. You have the opportunity to talk to me about them, I suppose, and share ideas about what you could use them for or not, and if there are alternatives and things like that, and just get that information. If that results in a sale, then sure, I can give you a link to where you can go and buy it, and it will turn up in a couple of days. But from my point of view, as a very experienced sales guy on the shop floor of a very busy music shop, I hate all of the selling lark. I hate it. I can't bear it. So it won't be like that. It will be a place where I give you the opportunity to buy something as opposed to push anything at you. Does that make sense? Is it all just pie in the sky? Am I completely nuts? Is it just going to fall? No one's ever going to buy anything, I imagine, with this kind of sales technique. But what I hope is that over time it will build up to a place that people can trust and rely upon, and actually get useful information and stuff from, if you see what I mean. So that I suppose in the most enormous nutshell is what I'm attempting to do. I'm trying to fill a space, give people an opportunity to try stuff, give people an opportunity to buy stuff. Those are the things. Does that make any kind of sense? Does anyone have any feelings on any of that? I mean, there might only be 5 of you watching. I don't know. I'm not really looking at the stats. So it's okay not to have an opinion. I'm just wondering if anybody has any thoughts out there. Yeah, option paralysis. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, because there will literally, I think there's about 10 tables within the space, so I'll be able to put 10 to 20 things out, I suspect. The sort of things I'm talking about, I mean ultimately as well, it's just coming from what's in here. It's coming from what's in here. So the sort of things that I have are the little Roland Ira synths. Because also it has to be current product as well. It can't be stuff that's no longer available. I've got the Moog Sound Studio over there. So that's a DFAM, Mother 32 and Labyrinth. Excuse me, I might only bring the Labyrinth. I'm not sure. I've got a Mini Freak. I've got a Redshift 6, slightly more interesting. Got the Tiger synth from Pittsburgh Modular. So those sorts of things. I think got some Dreadbox bits and pieces. I'll take the Instrui, little seashell, like the Erebus, the Hades. I'll also take the Bullfrog from Erica Synths. I'll take the Erica Synths little modular system I've got. And I will take some cases of modular. The idea being is to give people an opportunity to play on those, to experience that for perhaps the first time, take them through it a little bit. But then also these systems are going to hopefully roll into an idea of being able to rent these out. Now that for me is hopefully the thing that's going to keep this going. Because if I can build up this idea of renting out systems every month, and then people bring them back the following month and rent them out, bring them back the following month. If that actually works, then that could fund it for real, and that could be brilliant. And so that's something that I think could genuinely make the whole thing work. And is also, again, a fantastic resource for people who don't have £1,000 to drop on a little modular system, but might have 100 or two to borrow one for a month, if you see what I mean. Or not, I don't know. Is that going to work? Who knows? Until you try these things, who knows? T-shirts. Yes, well, I don't know if I'm going to bring T-shirts because you never know what sizes to have other than just always extra large, I suppose. But I did get some T-shirts through yesterday and they're all right. They're great. I really quite like them. I mean, Stu Holmes, who did all the artwork, is, it's pretty fantastic. I've got some of his artwork just over there on the wall, which you can't see. On the wall. See, you can't see it because it's behind a bunch of keyboards. There it is. You can see the horn just at the top. There you go. So they're great. No, charging entry is not it. You don't have to pay to go into a music shop. You pay to go into an exhibition, or you pay to go into a synthesizer show, and that's fine. That's a different thing. You're paying for a particular experience and contact with manufacturers and all that kind of thing. That's not it. It has to be a thing that people will walk past while they're eating a sandwich or a bagel or having a coffee and go, ooh, and pop in and have a little fiddle and then move on. And then the next month they might go past it again and go, ooh, and come in for half an hour and have a look. It's that sort of thing. It has to have that music shop element to it where you are absolutely welcome to come in for 5 minutes and just have a poke around and have a look and then leave and come back another time. It has to have that thing. So no, absolutely not. No tickets. No tickets. That's the thing. This is why it's different to a synth show, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Kind of a synthesizer flea market. Yeah, again, not really, because we're not selling secondhand stuff. It's not buy what you see. It is buy what you see, but buy it new from a retail partner who I'm just working out this week with a bit of luck, who will send it to you in the post. Yeah, that's the idea. Could people bring modules that they want to sell, buy, etc.? I mean, there are possibilities. Will you need a street trading license? I mean, it's taking place in a charity run shop, essentially, a charity shop space. They have jumble sales in there and that sort of thing. I'm not selling anything. I will be directing people via an affiliate link, all being well. Hey, scan this QR code. That will take them to my website, which will take them to the retailer where they can buy the stuff. So I'm not selling anything. I'm purely directing people to the place where they can buy it. Because if I start selling stuff, then that brings with it all the baggage of a music shop that I'm trying to avoid. Trying to get this to run as as much of a shoestring as humanly possible, because it builds and it cascades into something unwieldy really flipping quick, because you start having to have staff and admin and telephones and email answering. You've got to sort out returns. You've got to deal with the distribution and getting stuff backwards and forwards. No, none of that. That's all the nightmare. That, when you put a music shop together, you need to have this enormous load of stuff going on, an enormous load of logistics in order to make the shop happen. So no, I'm cutting out all of that. I'm just being the very, very front end, and I'm referring people to an established shop that will do all of that shenanigans. I'm an advisor at the front end. That's the idea. Yeah, it's not a second-hand market. It's not a bring and buy. I mean, it could be, perhaps, but I don't necessarily want to turn it into into sort of a nerdy synth paradise. That's not really what I'm after. I'm after new people off the street. People who would be interested in seeing and experiencing these things, perhaps for the first time. I don't want it to be too nerdy or cliquey that people won't feel they're able to come in and try stuff out. It needs to have a very open vibe. Does that make sense? I mean, absolutely. I mean, I guess if it's a place where if it's a place where that attracts synthesizer people, or the synthesizer community. We love the synthesizer community, don't get me wrong. If it attracts the synth community, and then so if it does that every month, then perhaps there is something that we could do in order to make that fun, make that nice. I mean, I did initially think of having a table where people could come and have a jam. That's still a possibility. I don't know whether I want that to be a thing yet, because I don't know how much space there is, or how much space there will be, and how easy that will be, or how difficult that will be, or how distracting that will be. Would that be great? I don't know. Do we want to have performances during the day? Yes and no, as in sort of, but also not. Because I want people to be free to play with the gear, as opposed to feel they should be listening, And also I don't want to put people off. Because this is a Saturday in the middle of a shopping mall. People aren't there to listen to synths necessarily. Is that making any sense? I'm just trying to keep it separate from becoming just an extension of Synth East, because Synth East is there for that. EMOM is there for people to perform. Norwich Synth Club is there for people to nerd out about synths and get together and talk about it, that kind of thing. I think those sorts of areas are already pretty well catered for. So this is kind of something else, where I'd love you to stop by, come and give us a chat, but don't come and stay all day and talk at me constantly, because I need to be looking after people who are coming in off the street for the first time. Do you see what I mean? Do you see what I'm getting at? That's sort of the vibe. It's different. I understand that it's quite different and difficult to perhaps grasp exactly what it is I'm talking about. And of course, it's ultimately probably going to be really difficult to make work. And it's probably going to be nothing like how I feel it might be. And ultimately, it might just be an opportunity to get together with some synths and have a bit of a laugh. That might be it. I might be standing there by myself all day. I just don't know. Just don't know. Yeah, start it simple. Swap shop. Good Lord. I mean, it has a lot of potential to be many, many things. Absolutely. But we're just going to have to see how it goes, I think. And try not to do too much on the first instance and just see whether it attracts people coming past, whether it's interesting. I mean, I've obviously put a little bit of money into printing up some nice big displays. I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to label up all the synths so they've got QR codes for people to scan if they want more information or to go and buy it. I'm going to get some nice tablecloths to lay over everything, try to bring in some lights. I'll have headphones for most, but a few speakers as well, so that there is a general bubbling of sound knocking around. And I hopefully, just if nothing else, it will be kind of a fun, interesting day on that Saturday, the 11th. I will be punting it out there because, I mean, I don't know if you're aware, but on Breakfast News a couple of days ago, they had interviews of people in music shops talking about, what we're going to do, PMT shut down, and, how are we going to support our local music shops? And I'm going, well, I'm doing exactly that. So I think this sort of thing could be pretty newsworthy and pretty interesting for people out there. And I think this could be quite a vital thing. If I can get this right, if I can somehow put together enough gear with enough enthusiasm that people enjoy coming in, and I don't just get hacked off by the first customer who asks me ridiculous things, and I have all these flashbacks to Turnkey where I just wanted to kill people, then hopefully it will go all right, and it will be an asset to the place. No, I don't know what a Heron's Foods is. Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Local papers, all that kind of thing. It's going to be great. I've got very little time now. That's my only thought. But my plan, I mean, I'm penciled in with the Honesty Library for the first 3 months, so October, November, December. So I obviously, if it's a complete disaster, I'll rethink it. Or, I mean, the disaster would be if someone comes in and just takes everything, because something else I'm thinking about, obviously, is security, how I secure everything. Do I have a big guy on the door growling at people, making them feel suspicious and unwelcome? Do we do that? Do I just assume that everyone's pretty nice and won't put things in their pockets and walk out with it? I don't know. So these are the questions. And obviously there's a certain amount of risk involved. Absolutely. It feels like an idea, though. I mean, from my point of view, I'm always looking for things that could potentially be a stream of revenue for something which I'm doing myself, rather than relying on writing for another person or, getting paid to create content. This could be another way that I can support what I do, just by investing one Saturday a month. Could be a way forward. Yeah, tricky. Well, what time is it? So 9:20. Okay. So that was the Synth Picnic thing, talking about that. I will, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, actually put together a promotional video for it with a bit of luck. Oh, God, jeez. I don't know where I'm going to fit this all in. So Bristronica coming up in a few weeks as well. I'm booked in to go to that. Hope to be there for the whole weekend. So that should be fun. So if you're there, you want to say hello, then do come and say hello. I will also be talking about synths to people, inviting people along, manufacturers along, trying to get them all to sign up to the Norwich event next February. So that would be great. That's going to be opening the manufacturer booking table form very soon. Thanks, Bart. I appreciate that. No, see, Gaz will be too excited about stuff. He'll be bouncing around the place. Wouldn't be able to get him to stand still. That's all right, Frank. Don't worry about it. Yeah, so if you're at Brishtonica, do come and say hello. I'm there Saturday and Sunday, I hope, to actually be able to spend some time talking to the manufacturers. I'm usually whizzing through and then going off and having some beers somewhere. So this time I hope to hang around a little bit. So that'll be good. That'll be good, yes. And that's going to happen before we do another one of these. So yeah, if you're going, am I taking cameras? You know, I don't know that I can be bothered. There's so many people videoing things. Do I really need to walk around with a camera? You know, I've done that a bit and it felt exciting, I suppose. No, I felt like an idiot. But I felt like I was being a YouTuber. You know what I mean? But then it's like going to the YouTuber meetup at Super Booth that Bo Beats puts together, which is brilliant. It's lovely. But there's always sort of a few people going around, you know, filming everything. And it's like, well, of course you are, because we're YouTubers. But at some point it just feels like, oh, really? You kind of, I think when you've been doing it as long as I have, you kind of, to some degree, you get over it. And actually trying to grab content at every possible moment is just a bit of a drag, and you actually want to spend time at the show being at the show. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe I'll probably take a camera and then just not use it. That's probably what I'll do. It's probably what I'll do. Cheers, Jason. Yeah, so what else are we talking about? Well, this afternoon I filmed a video on putting together the new Loki 2.0 stands. Look at that. Steve Holmes, who I've been doing this stuff with for Synth Picnic, he sent me a bunch of these new stands, which is great, and I've been putting them together this afternoon. They're a bit bonkers. They have these things, right? This was a nice this coloured one. Are we looking at the right stuff? No, we're not. Camera change. What we're talking about. So yeah, they're different. They've now got these plastic bits here rather than a big chunky wooden thing in order to stop bits falling off. They've got these clips here. So rather than having a single piece of wood going across, it's now two pieces of wood which are put together, allowing you to create bigger and bigger ones. Potentially put expanders in and put it down to a smaller space. They've got these nice rubberized bits that go on to stop it slipping. They've got a lot fewer slots in the bottom, so you're not going to get it caught on your cables quite so easily. And they configure into all sorts of shapes and bits and pieces. So you don't need to go and watch my video now, which I'll put out tomorrow. Fantastic. So work-wise at the moment, because I've been away, been on holiday, I haven't had a lot done. Haven't managed to get a lot done this summer at all. It's been rubbish. Yeah, cheers, Jason. I will be done by 10, mate. What was I? Oh, yeah. I've had quite a bit of time off, unfortunately, which has not helped because I'm so behind, so terribly behind. So this week I've got a couple of articles to write for Perfect Circuit. Then I've got a little bit of a gap before I've got to do my next Studio One workshop. So I'll try to cram in as much video making as I can. So that's going to include Caress of Stars, which I think I'll probably just do tomorrow. Just get it done before anything else. Oh, I've messed it all up. See, okay, that's a thing. If you accidentally touch it, you completely screw it all up. So that's interesting. I wonder if there's there's a recall button. I will find out. I'll find out. What am I saying? Yeah, yes, terribly behind. So I've got the Caress of Stars I'm going to review. Got the Matrix VCF I'm going to review. I've got the Own Force Bohm over here, this flipping kick drum, which is just manic and massive. Trying to work my way through that seems quite an epic undertaking, but yeah, definitely going to have a look at that. I've got the Bishop's Miscellany 2, which I almost reviewed, but got really hacked off by the clock division not working. Now it does, so now I feel I can give that a proper go, because I have questions. I think it's quite brilliant, and I think the clock division fix is going to make me like it more, rather than get slightly frustrated with it. So that's good. Looking forward to doing that some proper justice. There's also Griffin's Claws from Shackmat as well. I need to do a review of. So those, at the very least, I've got Bob and Steve here that I need to do a review of, but also I'm waiting for the review to come out in Sound on Sound before I can do a video on it. It's complicated, isn't it? Very complicated. I've got all these replicant modules that were sent to me by Noah. Can't quite remember. I've got those to do, which are great. I've got the Pianist to review, which is this chord generating module, which is excellent. God. I've got a couple of new little Bafako 1Us to have a look at. That's something to do with pedals. I've got the Stylophone Gen 2X turning up in the next day or so. So I've got that to do. Looking over there. I've got the prototype through of my next module, which is exciting, that I can't tell you anything about, but I've got to give that a little bit of time as well. So, a great big pile of stuff to look at. And also got some DIY with the joystick thing I'm in the middle of doing. And I've got some other great DIY projects. The One I Roll, the Vaco one. Got a mad sequencer to build. Oh, tons of stuff. I could fill the weeks many times over. As well as obviously getting together for Synth Picnic, preparing some things for Synth East, and getting my arse to Bristronica. Busy. Yeah. Good. So I think maybe to wrap this off, if no one's got any other talking points particularly, I will see if I can get 4 channels of this going. That might be fun. So what else could I run it into? Lots of things, I imagine. So yeah, let's go back to here. So you can see this at the least a little bit. Let's see if I can do channels 3 and 4. I'm using 1 and 2 for just this line and the filter. I think I'm going to go back down to something a bit slower. So, how can I turn a thing on? How can I tune up? This is one of those. So, how am I going to get power over there is the next question. Don't think I am, so I'll run this one instead. Or I could just go into something over here. How is this working at the minute? So I could take channel 3. I hope you can hear me alright. I could bring this in a little bit better so I can talk to you a little bit while I'm doing this. Whew. That might work a bit. So I take channel 3, I'm going to go into the black and blue. Over here, if I can remember how this works. How? What? This is the thing. It's funny when things are a little bit non-standard, I tend to lose it really fast, as in understanding a thing. It's probably just me. Okay, that's going in there. Probably going to take me longer than it needs. So what you're witnessing is a man's inability to tune the heck out of anything. Right, I'm going to destroy this further because I can't be asked to get my tuner out by throwing the surface into the melee. This is just terrible. But hey, let's not worry about it. Who needs to worry about things? Certainly not me. It's hilarious to me. What time is it? Okay, so I've got more time for this nonsense. So, having not been able to stumble into the tuning, I might actually try to tune things. That's always harder than you'd think. Let's see if this comes together. Still doesn't sound in tune to me. So in which case I've probably got the scales wrong. So channel 1, scale. Let's put it down to something. Can I get it all the same? If I go all the way over there. Channel 1, channel 3, scale, all the way over there, channel 4, scale, all the way over there. Bloody hell!
I imagine I've scared you all off by now. I should think, gosh, that took a little bit of time to bring into some kind of melodic arena. Gosh, yes, tuning your oscillators, it's always a thing. I'm somewhere in me, I'm convinced that I can just on the fly sort that out. And sometimes you can, and sometimes you bring it into unexpected places where you haven't quite got it tuned. You've got it, off by a couple of semitones or something, and so it does things which are perhaps a little bit unexpected. But what you don't want is just trash, and for a long time that was just trash. But once I found, it's like the black and blue Oscar Trio and the Foxtrot Duo. It's a great combination of oscillator, but because I haven't used it for a while, because I've been busy elsewhere, I can't remember how to do it, because it's more than just an oscillator and a filter. There's a lot of other stuff going on. There's swarm things, there's pages and stuff, and when you're focused on it, it's brilliant, totally brilliant. But if you step away, come back to it, it's like, I don't have any idea what I'm doing. I just don't know what I'm doing. So dropping to something which is just gloriously simple, like the Pony VCO over there, the Sunless City filter, fantastic. I could very quickly pull something nice out, which is ultimately what you want, But it started getting nice towards the end. But time's up, really. Yeah, maybe I need to warm up a little bit more. Anyway, any further thoughts? And then I will call it a night. Just keep twiddling, yeah. I appreciate the commentary. It sounds great if you like bad stuff. Ken, you came in for the best bit. Nice. Funny. Yes. Brilliant. Well, thank you for staying with me this long, if you indeed did, and suffered your way through some nonsense or other I was trying to get the hang of. Fabulous, this Caress of Stars. I'm going to look forward to spending a little bit of time with it this week, as much as I can, I think. But you can go and check it out on arcane.audio, I think the website might be. You can look it up. Arcane Devices, Caress of Stars. It's on Indiegogo now, and you can go and pre-order yourself one if you fancy. Or wait for my review. It'll be out later in the week, and I'll give you a better demonstration of what the heck and all is going on. I think that would be good. So that'll do us, I think. Arcane.audio, there you go. Thanks, Frank. You're very kind. So, I don't think I've got anything else pressing to throw at you. Not really. I think it's all good. It's all good. We're going to go clattering into the new school term. I'm going to have lots of time.
The dog has calmed down a little bit, although she's in season now, which is just awesome. We've got to get through this bit, and then we've got to like take her to the vet, and don't even get me started. Anyway, thank you for spending time with me. Thanks very much. I'll turn this back on, and then I'll turn the thing on, and then we're done. All right. And in the meantime, see, that's not doing anything now. Go make some tunes.